Hey guys, it's Al with techmadeezy, and this is the Delta comparison. You know, we've done a few Delta comparisons in the past, like this one, for instance, and we even did the super powerful Delta Pro comparison, like this one just recently. But in this video, we're going to be providing a detailed comparison of the OG Delta, which is to the left side, the Delta 2, the new Delta 3, and the Delta 3 Plus. Now, this is going to be a very detailed comparison of these smaller units, so make sure you use our timestamp. Look, these are great for apartment owners, homeowners, van lifers, campers, and RV owners. These are light, they're pretty powerful, and some even have battery expansion for longer runtime. Again, timestamps will be in the video description, so why don't we go ahead and check this out. Hi, this is Al from techmadeezy with a really quick message. The video you're about to watch is sponsored. We received this product from the vendor, but keep in mind, we will be very honest with you as we review the product. That is very important to us. If you like our video, I sure hope you give us a thumbs up. I hope you share our video. And last, I really hope you subscribe and become a part of the family. Thank you. So guys, before we get started, I want to make you aware of many of the EcoFlow comparison videos we did. Now, this is our original Delta comparison we did, and many of these are actually still available. Now, we recently launched this one. This is the powerhouse, right? You're talking super powerful and super expandable. These can even back up homes for days and weeks, right? Lastly, we did a bunch of videos on the River series, as you can see from what I'm showing you on the screen. The River comparison, the River 2 series comparison, and now some of the new River 3s are coming out. So we will have video for you. All right? But let's go ahead and check this out. So here is what we're covering in this video. We're going to cover pricing, power, UPS and EPS, battery size, battery expansion, battery cycle rating, right? How many cycles can I get out of the batteries? What type of chemistry is in the batteries? Are some of these IP rated? The connectivity? What about safety? That's pretty important. The weight, the warranty, and more. Let's go over cost. So let's start off from the left side. We're now going to cover the Delta. Now this is the Delta 1300, the OG, by the way, and MSRP on this is $13.99. The Delta 2 is $9.99. The Delta 3 is $6.99, and the Delta 3 Plus is $7.99. It's now time to go over power. Now, before I start power, I'm going to be talking about X-Boost. And I want to bring up a slide so you can understand what X-Boost is all about. X-Boost does not work for everything, so be really careful when you decide to use X-Boost. But let's talk about power. So the Delta 1300, which is the OG to the left side, is 1800 watts with a 3300 watt surge. Now this does not have X-Boost capability. The Delta 2 is 1800 watts with a 2700 watt surge and 2200 watts with X-Boost. The Delta 3, 1800 watts with a 3600 watt surge, nice jump, and 2200 watts of X-Boost. And the Delta 3 Plus, 1800 watts with a 3600 watt surge and 2200 watts X-Boost. Let's take a moment and talk about EPS and UPS. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about EPS and UPS. EPS stands for Emergency Power Supply, and UPS stands for Uninterrupted Power Supply. It's a lot quicker than EPS. So the OG, the Delta, is 30 milliseconds. The Delta 2 is also 30 milliseconds. But the Delta 3 and the 3 Plus are both 10 milliseconds. Super quick for a power station. And you would use this if you wanted to plug your computer in, just in case your power went out, the power station would kick in, and many other scenarios. Let's talk about X-Quiet. I'll bring up an image real quick. So the Delta 3 and the Delta 3 Plus, basically, if your load is 600 watts or lower, this unit will be 30 dB. Both the 3 and the 3 Plus. That's pretty quiet. Now it's time to talk about battery capacity, right? What battery capacity do these power stations have? So the OG has 1260 watt hours. It is a lithium-ion battery. It has 800 cycles, and then it goes to 80%. The Delta 2 is 1,024 watt hours. It is a lithium iron phosphate battery. It has 3,000 cycles, and then it goes to 80%. Now the Delta 3 steps it up even more. 1,024 watt hours, again, lithium iron phosphate, 4,000 cycles, and then it goes to 80%. The Delta 3 Plus, same thing, 1,024 watt hours, 4,000 cycles to 80%. Now let's talk about IP rating. So I'm going to bring up a slide and show you that the Delta 3 and the Delta 3 Plus both have IP65 rated battery packs. And they say that they are protected from limited water splashes and dust. Again, that is just the battery pack. Now it's time to talk about expansion. And expansion, just so you'll know, means more runtime. Now, before we go into battery expansion, I just want to show you where the battery expansion ports are. Now, this is a Delta 2. As you know, the original Delta doesn't have any expansion. On the Delta 2, turn the unit to the side, and the battery port is right here. It's got one battery port and a nice cover. Delta 3 battery expansion is now moved to the back. So you just turn this around, open this up, and you now have, this slides in, you've got your battery port right there. Delta 3 Plus battery expansion is also in the back. Take the unit, turn it around, drop this, slide it in, there it goes, your battery expansion. So let's start off with the Delta 2. As you can see on the screen, the Delta 2 is compatible with the Delta 2 battery and the Delta Max battery. To the left, it shows that you can stack a Delta 2 battery on top, and each of them have 1,024 watt hours, so you would get 2,048 watt hours. Now on the right side, you could see the Delta Max battery sitting aside a Delta 2. The Delta 2 has 1,024 watt hours, and the Delta Max has 2,048 watt hours, so you would get 3,072 watt hours total. Now let's go over the Delta 3 expansion. So as you can see here, it's compatible with a Delta 2 battery, a Delta 2 Max battery, a Delta Pro 3 battery, which is huge, and a Delta 3 battery. So if you connect the Delta 2 battery, you'll get 2,048 watt hours. If you connect the Delta 2 Max battery, you'll get 3,072 watt hours. And if you get a Delta Pro 3 battery, the battery itself is 4,096 watt hours. You'll have 5,120 watt hours. Now, if you want a battery that'll sit on top nice and neat, I would say the Delta 3 battery is a good match, and that'll give you 2,048 watt hours total. Now let's cover the Delta 3 Plus expansion, and as you can see, it's the same, right? So adding a Delta 2 battery would give you 2,048 watt hours. Adding a Delta 2 Max battery would give you 3,072 watt hours. Adding a Delta Pro 3 battery, massive, 5,120 watt hours. And again, just getting a nice battery to sit on top, that Delta 3 battery, you'll have 2,048 watt hours. Let's now talk about connectivity, and we're talking about Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So when we cover the OG, just keep in mind it has nothing. It doesn't have any Bluetooth. It doesn't have any Wi-Fi. But the Delta 2, the Delta 3, and the Delta 3 Plus all have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. And keep in mind the Wi-Fi needs to be 2.4 gigahertz. Now let's talk about the EcoFlow Alternator Charger. This is a 800 watt device. And what devices are compatible? Well, the Delta 2, the Delta 3, and the Delta 3 Plus. Now, what is an alternator charger? Well, simply put, the device allows you to charge certain EcoFlow power stations by using your vehicle's alternator charger. Here's a small clip just to show you what that looks like. But as you can see, it does need to be wired, and most people can do it. Let's take a moment and talk about safety, right? You're going to be bringing these into your home. And let me bring up another slide. So listen, EcoFlow is very advanced. They integrate over 40 protective measures against current, voltage, temperature, and other circuit risks. So you're in good hands. I would just say make sure you update your firmware often. Now let's talk about weight and warranty. So the Delta 1300, the OG, is 30.9 pounds, and it has a 2-year warranty. The Delta 2 is 27 pounds, and it has a 5-year warranty. The Delta 3 is 27.6 pounds, and it has a 5-year warranty. And the Delta 3 Plus, the same as the Delta 3, 27.6 pounds with a 5-year warranty. Let's now talk about ports and outlets. We're going to start off with the OG, the original Delta. So 2 12-watt USB Type-A, 2 18-watt USB Type-A, and 2 60-watt USB Type-Cs. Now if we go to the back, you're going to see the 1800-watt outlets. And as you can see, they're only 2-prong, but they're 1800 watts with a 3,300 watt surge, no EcoBoost. And then you have a car charger outlet over here, which is rated at about 96 watts, 12 volt, 8 amp. Here is the Delta 2. Let's take a close look at the Delta 2. So you'll see here you get 2 12-watt USB Type-A and 2 18-watt. They upgraded the USB Type-C, so these are 100 watts, which is nice. Your power button for your USB, your power button for the unit. Turn around in the back, and you will see your 6 outlets, but now you have 2 3-prong, which is nice. Your power button for your AC, again rated 1800 watts with a 2,700 watt surge, which is nice. And you have a car charger, again rated at 96 watts, 12 volt, 8 amp, and then you get 2 DC 5521 barrel ports. These are rated at 38 watts each. Now we've got the new Delta 3, and they did this really well, I'll tell you. What's nice about this is everything is right in front of you. So you now have 3 3-prong. First of all, you got your 6 outlets, right? 1800 watts with a 3,600 watt surge. You get 2 USB Type-Cs, 100 watts. You get 2 18-watt USB Type-A, and then AC on, the power for the unit, USB on and off. And then the back, you do have a car charge port if you need to use that, but this one's rated at up to 126 watts, depending on your vehicle, of course. It's 12.6 volts, 10 amp, and they do have 2 barrel ports down here. These are rated at 38 watts each. Here's the Delta 3 Plus. Now, as you can see, it's not just the design. There are definitely a couple of differences. I hope you catch them in our video. But again, 6 outlets, 1800 watts with a 3,600 watt surge. You do get 3 3-prong, which is good. But take a close look. 140 watt USB Type-C. That's pretty sweet. And then you do get two 18-watt USB Type A fast charge, power button, AC on, USB on and off. Let's take a look at the back. There's your car charger, rated at up to 126 watts. It's 12.6 volt, 10 amp. And then you do get two barrel ports down here, and these are 38 watts each. Let's now cover input, and that means ways to charge these Delta power stations. Let's start off with AC charging. EcoFlow calls it Extreme, by the way. The OG Delta supports 1200 watts. They say it can be charged to 100% in 96 minutes. Delta 2, 100% in 80 minutes, 1200 watts. Delta 3, 100% in 56 minutes, supporting 1500 watts. And the same for the Delta 3 Plus, 56 minutes to 100% with 1500 watts of AC charging. Now, let's go ahead and talk about solar for a minute. And let me go ahead and show you all the ports on each of these power stations so you can actually see it while I go over the specs. So here is the OG, and let me show you the solar port right here on the side of the unit. And you can see here it's got one solar port. I'll go ahead and zoom in. This will support 400 watts max, 65 volt, 10 amp. Now let's go over the Delta 2 solar. Now that was moved to the back. So you just turn it around, open the cover, zoom in a little bit for you, and you'll see that this supports 500 watt solar, 11 to 60 volt, 15 amp. Now let's cover the new Delta 3. Again, solar on this one is on the back. All right, we'll open it up. We'll zoom in for you. This supports 500 watts of solar, 11 to 60 volt, 15 amp. And here is the Delta 3 Plus. Now, why do they call it Plus? Well, check out the solar capabilities. Let's show you in the back. Right, nice small unit. Open this up, zoom in, and look at that. This can support 1,000 watts of solar. 500 watts on each XT60 port, 11 to 60 volts, 15 amp. Now that's sweet. Let's talk about smart generator charging. EcoFlow has a Smart Generator 3000. Now this is a dual fuel generator. It is not compatible with the Delta OG or the Delta 2. So this will work with the Delta 3 or Delta 3 Plus. So if you charge on the gas side, you can get up to 2,000 watts. If you charge on the propane side, you can get up to 1,800 watts. And they say you can get up to 3,000 watts using X-Boost tech. I'm not familiar with it, but I wanted to mention that. Let's take a moment and just look at the design and take a quick look at the screen so you can see the improvements. So let's take a quick look at design and then we'll take a look at the screen. So you could really see that they've got these helpful handles that just haven't changed, right? I mean, these might be a little bit roomier for the most part. They all have a flat top. These guys have more of a design now on the top, no big deal. But one thing that changed was ventilation. And these are a lot quieter, by the way. I would say by at least 25%. Ventilation would really go through the unit and come out the other side. And I believe it would also get to the components, but I'm not sure about that. Now with the Delta 2, again, that same design. And then here is where they improved the circulation. You know, they changed the way the air flows through. So it actually flows through and comes out the other side. So better ventilation, definitely quieter, first of all. And you could see here that, you know, the design changed a little bit. And then from the 3 Plus, you know, kind of a more fancier design, right? You got a little piece of silver here. You know, this looks like the Delta Pro 3, but it's a mini version if you've seen that before. Another thing to cover also is the original Delta wasn't expandable. Then the Delta 2 was, and you would plug in your battery on the side. Again, we showed this at the expansion part of the video. And then the 3 and the 3 Plus both now have their expansion ports on the back. And this actually slides in, and you can now connect a cable there. So, nice design. The batteries themselves are also nice and slim. And you can put the battery on top. I'll pull up an image real quick so you can see what that looks like. The last thing I'll point out is obviously they move your AC outlets to the front, right? So in the older models, you've got USB in the front, and then you've got your AC outlets in the back. It is so much nicer to have all of your outlets for the most part, right? I mean, your car charge outlet and your barrel ports are in the back, which don't get used as much depending on who you are. But the majority of your ports are right here in the front. I like that. Now we take a look at the screens, and you'll see from the Delta to the Delta 2, the screen stayed the same. You know, you have your input wattage, your output wattage, you have your battery percentage. You know, you've got your circle for your battery. You also have your charge and discharge time, depending on what you're doing. Same there, right? Then you get this new display now. And they show your input here, your output there. Again, your battery percentage, your battery bars. And then it'll actually show, you know, ultimately your charge and discharge time on the top there. It'll show your Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi, which again is what these will do too, but this is just a more sleek design. Nice display for sure. So, if you're interested in seeing the video in front of you, which is the powerful Delta Pro comparison, I'm going to put a link in the upper right-hand corner in a moment, and the word will be Pro. So as soon as you see Pro pop up, click on it, and you can watch that video right now. Now, I'm also going to put a link in the video description. But here comes the word Pro. Go ahead and click on that, and you can watch that video. All right, guys. Well, I sure hope our video helped you in some way. And if it did, do me a big favor and give us a thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate that. And hey, if you could share our video with your friends and your family, that would be awesome. I'm going to put my social media channels right up top. If you want to follow us on social media, go right ahead and send us a message. Let us know that you did. And hey, check out our new Tesla channel. When you get a chance, just look us up at My Tesla Journey 1. And subscribe if you can. I'm going to put a video here on the right side of the screen where my finger is. If you have time, check that out. And if you want to subscribe to our channel here at techmadeezy, all you got to do is click this round techmadeezy logo right there, and you'll be able to subscribe on the spot and join the family. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.